Alright, what is up my ponios? Andy Paul's allgamesplayed.com, allgamesplayed.com, and you just saw the intro to Device 6. We are now on Chapter 1, Awakening of Device 6. So, the formatting for this, whether it's horizontal or vertical, is going to change. You'll see me switch it. Right now, I have to do it the other way. Saying please swipe. Radio. Northwest guest room. She has never played with dolls, yet it was the first thing on Anna's mind when she came to a rather unpleasant doll too. A strange thing to have one's mind. She got to her feet slowly. Thousands of nails seemed to pierce her head, and her right ear itched terribly. Where in the world am I? This was certainly not the room she rented from Miss Musket. For one thing, this room was cylindrical. A tower? I don't know any people living in towers, nor do I care, Anna mumbled to herself, gritting her teeth. Through a small window she could tell that she was rather high up. As she tried to focus, she could make a lighthouse in the distance. Anna wasn't in the city. That was much closer. Ugh, I need a smoke. She reached inside her coat pocket. Her cigarette package was empty. This was turning out to be very bad morning indeed. Won't somebody turn off that awful music? A painting of an orange hung on the wall. Anna felt a sharp pain in her head. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath. When she opened her eyes, she noticed number 2001 right in the center of the orange, painted a slightly different hue. Anna shook her head. As she opened the only door in the room, she saw a steep and narrow staircase. Carefully, she began to descend. Her balance seemed to be slightly distorted. The steps appeared to be floating. Too many cocktails. Oh, I'm getting drowsy. Just kidding. Anna tried hard to remember. The doll flashed from her eyes again. As she got to the bottom of the stairs, a door blocked her way. She peeked through the keyhole. A long corridor. There was nobody there. Anna opened the door. No, something else. I'm gonna tilt it now. West corridor. Lightly stepped into an expensive-looking carpet that stretched out as far as she could see. There was enormous oil paintings, etchings, lithographs, and other works of art. Oh, I have to say, okay, I skipped that. An intense color shone in an almost unnatural way. There was enormous oil paintings, etchings, lithographs, and other works of art. Clusters all over the walls. That looks great. What does that say? That looks really cool. A mansion or a castle, perhaps? It was completely over-decorated. Anna walked straight ahead for a moment. Thought of Anna walked straight ahead and for a moment thought of taking her boots off so that she could not make any unnecessary noise. Don't be silly, Anna. She decided against it and instead announced her presence with a hello, but her words echoed empty through the corridor. Third floor nursery. A child's room? Anna peeked inside the room to her right. There didn't seem to be anyone. Loads of toys were scattered all over the floor, and in the corner stood a tiny four-poster bed. She looked out the windows, and even through her sight, as it was still somewhat blurry, she could make out an ocean and a castle, a bridge connecting to the building she was in. Let's look at that. Focus on the photo at the bottom. That's really cool. It says, a spoiled child's room. As majestic as the view was, Anna felt slightly offended by it. She had not asked for it. She looked around the room. Something was wrong. Something. The toys were a mess on the floor, but not a real mess, an arranged mess. The west corridor piece on the wall depicting a rather stern-looking elephant wearing a bowler hat. Baby elephant. Why is there an arrow? Can I do anything about it? No, I can just swipe. With a broiler hat caught her attention. How awfully tacky. Third floor. Kirk room. Anna knocked on the second door to the right. No answer. She opened it and entered a dim and somber room. The windows were covered by speckled green drapes that had been nailed to the wall. That's weird. Her eyes adjusted to the darkness, and she could tell that the room was empty save for a gargantuan cabinet that stood against the wall. A curious, lock-like device was attached to doors, and she could feel a slight draft coming from within. Something about it made Anna feel uneasy. A couple dots, R and L, left and right. So, she went back to the corridor. Headache was fading. The headache was fading, and her balance was almost recovered. She still had no recollection of how she arrived there. Why am I here? It's a weird looking diagram or diorama. Anna searched her mind. She had left the office at 5 o'clock, bought some vegetables. Oh, device 1, D1, so it's that top big one on the left. Text output chip, main stimulation device. Transmission of thought to text translation device, output 4. First person to third person translation output. Present tense to past translation output. So I'm wondering if something was in her brain. She left at the office at 5 o'clock, bought some vegetables at the market, and then she had gone straight home. But then what? The text is moving up. Can you tell? That's kind of cool. It's going down. Developer's notes. Unable to separate geographical data from the course of events might produce paradox breaches of course of events, and geographical data might produce subject text through output without first to third person translation. If doubter experienced certain types of emotions, such affections, angst, annoyance, maybe hostility, etc. Back at the top, Anna came to a door with a sign, "Do not disturb." We'll see about that. Out of spite, she knocked on it now loudly. Silence. She knocked again. Even louder. Nothing. Third floor study. In the center of the room was a big desk with a multitude of notes sketched and some kinds of computer. The sketches seemed to have been created in a fairly fervent state of many of them were half finished and crumpled up. There were several old letters from someone called Corbinian Brodman. A rather poorly made portrait of Leonardo da Vinci hung on one of the walls next to it, and Anna noticed a photograph of Thomas Edison. He had a dart firmly placed between his eyes. I guess that's the sound of that device. She browsed the bookshelf. It was full of books about chemistry, mechanics, physics, and mathematics. They were all out of date, just like everyone else in the room. A calendar on the wall claimed it was September 1946. Museum, then. That would explain a lot. She left the room. Across the hall. Should we stop there? Why don't we stop there? We'll stop at the west corridor. I only see... no, let's keep going. West corridor. Across the hall, Anna noticed a stairwell that led down to what she assumed to be the ground floor. Oh, cool. Before heading down, she decided to inspect a peculiar, someone's talking, sound that appeared to come from, here we go, switch.
A simple math problem is the key. A framed number.
Who's talking?
In the room where red meets yellow in a frame. Plus another
Around the corner of the
number
corridor, there was a door slightly
between
ajar
hope
to her right.
and lies. Plus the channel I am on.
Third floor, Master Voice's room. Anna pushed it gently, but it was stuck. A more forceful push amounted to nothing.
Good morning.
So she leaned forward.
In the room of the
in.
Renaissance
A tape
man,
recorder had been placed in the
a
midst of the
simple
desk
math
in an
problem
otherwise
is
empty
the key.
room. That's
A
odd.
framed number. In the
Was this
room
some
where
kind of
red
prank?
meets yellow
Anna
in a
enjoyed a
frame.
good laugh as much as anyone,
Plus
but this seemed way too
another
elaborate for
framed
any of her
number.
friends to pull off.
hope
She continued down the end of the corridor, a dead end. Anna was facing a huge steel door that looked decidedly out of place and more fitting to some kind of bomb shelter. In front of it was a screen apparently displayed the output of a security camera. With no handle, she pushed herself against the door, even though she knew it wouldn't budge. Cool, I can touch it and they'll change. Cool. Alright, here we go. We're gonna go another 90 degrees. She took a few steps back and turned around. Then we're gonna go another 90 degrees. Anna glanced at the paintings as she walked down the hallway. There was clearly a great deal of money spent in this place, and by the look of things, eccentric, and by an eccentric.
another
Could
framed
Mr.
number
Cargill be on it?
between hope
He's
and
rolling
lies.
it in. He's rolling
Plus,
it in, isn't he?
The channel
No, he's too
I am
cheap.
on.
Besides, on what? She was thirsty and was working up quite an appetite. Anna was not the one
Good
to miss
morning.
breakfast.
In the
And
room
though
of
her
the
temper was
Renaissance
normally
man,
quite even,
a
two
simple
things
math
affected.
problem is the
It
key.
was more than she could admit.
A framed
Some
number.
eggs, some toast,
In the room
and
where
I'll get to
red
the bottom
meets
of this.
yellow in a frame.
A missed
Plus,
breakfast and shortage of smokes.
Another framed number between hope
Alright, we're gonna
and
do,
lies.
let's go back. Let's do that. Let's go
Plus,
back and do that turn so smooth.
the
Here we go.
channel I am
Turning,
on.
turning, and boom. Anna made her way back around the corridor, back to the stairway, and as we turn, we're gonna turn again, and boom, and walked down stairs. Wait a minute. What the fudge? Oh, wait a minute. I'm lost. Oh, I have to go down. Okay. So, I didn't mean to switch it. And walked downstairs. This is weird. Which way do I turn it? Well, it's telling me to go this way and turn this way. Okay. So I did get it right the first time and walked downstairs. I need to pause it. Fudge. I'm lost. I got stuck. Anna heard voices coming from what she instantly felt like being the dining hall. So I'm going to turn it 180 degrees. Ground floor, dining hall. That'll be a good place to stop. If you like, subscribe if you want to see more. This is Andy Paulus with allgamesplayed.com, allgamesplayed.com, allgamesplayed.com.